All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're talking about a movie that is well-loved. It's definitely a retro hit. It is a cult classic and one of the fine films of one of America's greatest modern filmmakers, Rob Reiner, R.I.P. Of course, we're talking about The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride. A little bit of a retro rewind for us. When it comes to The Princess Bride, we always like to start off the episode talking about the origins with the movies we're reviewing. And for me, this origin was all seeing it on WFLD Fox as a kid, but never watching it. I always just saw like the ads for it saying like, it's 7 p.m., The Princess Bride. And from what I saw, it seemed like a funny movie. And I saw that Andre the Giant was in it. So I was like, fuck yeah, I want to watch this. But I never did. I don't think I even attempted to watch it. I wanted to, but then I just didn't. So that was that. I haven't seen it until this particular viewing for the podcast. What about you? What's your origin?
I knew of it, same as you, like parts of it were here and there on local television, but sat down with it during the my tenure at a certain video store. We'd throw it on the TV every now and again. There's some great one-liners in it. And, just kind of appreciated it as a young adult and revisited it recently to see if I could get something that's not Paw Patrol in front of my son to watch. And yeah, I'm stoked to sit down with them. I did a rewatch solely for this episode.
What were your expectations before watching it for the podcast? Were you thinking like, oh, this is going to be a really great movie to watch again or anything?
So the reputation of the movie is it's so well loved. There's a cult following for this movie. It's quoted all the time, and it's very much in the zeitgeist of pop culture. Having not watched it for a while, my hope was that it stood up. It was as good as rewatching anything else that I think, captures the mind and has some funny parts to it. I was hoping it wasn't stale or that there wasn't like some huge cringe moment in it that you got to when you're just like, gotta put this one on hold for a few years. What about you? What were your expectations?
I was thinking it was going to suck because so the weird thing is, so I told you about my origin with it, right? So I thought it was like, it seems like a funny movie. Everything that was put on that WFLD, before it was Fox, trailer, if you will, for TV viewing, it seemed funny and entertaining. And then, like, something just happened to where I didn't watch it, and it wasn't until high school that I think one of the other classes was reading The Princess Bride for school assignment. And not my class. And I was like, why would you guys be reading The Princess Bride? Not knowing that it was a book first and then it was turned into a movie.
You mean you didn't see the beginning of the movie where it was very obviously a book?
No, I didn't even know. Why did it say it in the... I mean, besides Peter Falk saying that, like he brought over a book.
Before Peter Falk opening the actual book and reading it.
Did they say that this is from a book?
Did you watch this movie?
I didn't, at the beginning of it, I didn't see, did it say, what was it that was distinguished that it was a book in the beginning of the movie, is what I'm asking.
That he brought the book to Fred Savage's bedroom, had him open it, and started reading the book.
People bring fucking books into movies all the time. It doesn't mean it's a book. Deadpool did that. Obviously, that's in parody of The Princess Bride, but no, I just thought it was a book that they brought into, was the Never-Ending Story a book before the movie?
I think so.
Yeah, I just don't read books, man. I don't give a fuck.
Was Harry Potter a book before the movie?
Yeah, but they didn't bring a book of Harry Potter into the movie saying, this is a book.
I'm just messing with you now.
Yeah, well, so in other words, there's nothing was ever said that it was a book. So anyways, I was surprised in high school that it was a book, and the way that they made it sound, like my classmates and friends, that it was a little bit more of a serious tone. So I was like, this is odd. Like, you're talking about the book that was based off of the Andre the Giant movie? Is that what it is? And I just totally didn't understand. I had no inkling of or desire of wanting to watch this at all. I know it has a following and a lot of people like it, and I just don't know why. But that's why I figured, okay, we'll go into this and see what it's all about. But I was excited to see it in the sense that, it's going to be cool to see Andre the Giant. And that's it. That's all that I really cared about. Because Carrie Elway, don't give a fuck. Robin Wright, still looking good to this day, and didn't realize she was in the movie. So I was like, okay, things are looking up. So that was my expectation.
Wait a minute, aren't you missing somebody quite important? Mandy Patinkin?
No.
Oh, how dare you?
Didn't. The only reason I know anything about Mandy Patinkin is the fact that Sal from the Impractical Jokers would talk about Mandy Patinkin in The Princess Bride and saying that line. And that's the only reason I knew of him being in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's his entire role in the movie, is to say the line and say the line and say the line.
So I got a question. And I was asking my wife this because I don't think she ever read the book. Oh yeah, she told me she didn't read the book, but I was wondering, so is the book like the movie to where there is a grandpa reading a book to a kid? Like, is it that meta? Is that what it is?
Are you assuming that I've read the book, The Princess Bride?
I would have just assumed that you would have because you're such a fan and you say it was so...
Poor assumption. That would be a very poor assumption.
So in other words, you're giving me shit about not knowing that it was a book and you didn't even read the fucking book, so whatever.
I feel like you haven't read the description of our podcast where we talk about the hypocrisy being strong. But there is one thing that I want to set straight. For you, for all the listeners, never assume that I read the book. I have made a career off of never reading the book.
Anytime ever, like, someone asks me, like, oh, what type of books do you read for work? I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Audio?
Stupid.
Audio?
Books? Bitch, I watch movies. So if they make a movie about getting better at work, maybe I'll watch that. But
it's called The Wolf of Wall Street.
Fucking learn that shit on the job.
What are you talking about?
Oh, man. Ridiculous. But, so anyways, yeah. So that my question was like, yeah, is the book that meta, which apparently we're never gonna know because I'm not gonna Google it right now. I don't think you should Google it either because your computer might blow up because your audio is also.
I mean, it is what it is. We're just rolling with it here, baby.
But yeah, that was where I was at. I was a little bit confused with the tone of the movie going into it because I thought it was funny, and then I was thinking like, oh, it's serious because it was a book. But then, Peter Falk reading a book to fucking Fred Savage from the Wonder Years, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so it is a funny tone. And the Billy Crystal thing I remember from those previews, Andre the Giant being in it, and like I knew it was silly because I remember them tumbling down the side of the mountain, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is ridiculous. When I was 6 years old, however old I was when I was watching the trailers and the previews for it. But yeah, so going into this, I thought it was like, okay, well, this should be fun. It'll either confirm what I thought about this movie or completely not confirm what it was. So it was interesting.
So that's the question, right? Did it confirm? There's a lot of viral talking points to this movie. Did it get you there? Did it not? Do you need me to refresh your memory with the plot? Like, where are you at?
Well, because it's, I think it's part of the podcast, right? We should probably explain what the plot is. But Mark, why don't you give your version of the plot?
Dude constantly negged by girl, borderlining with psychological abuse to the point where he feels he is not good enough or rich enough to engage in weddingness. So he leaves and becomes a pirate.
Okay. Well, that explains a lot.
It does.
I don't understand why he comes back and he doesn't recognize her or she doesn't recognize him at first.
He was wearing a mask.
Yeah, come on. That's like fucking Batman, Like, I can fucking recognize it.
And the mustache. You gotta remember he had the mustache, right? Yeah, no. She didn't recognize him until he used the words. The magic word.
Yeah, and then she tumbles down the mountain after, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's that's where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is like a goofy ass movie. But I was still trying to think to myself, like, well, how is this for the book? I'm really curious as to how the book is now. And I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to Wikipedia it and see what it's all about. Or even just type it into Perplexity or ChatGPT and just say, what's the difference between the movie and the book? Because I'm not going to read it. Sorry, everyone. I'm not one of those literary people. But yeah, I hope our listeners' feelings don't get hurt in case you read books. But this is a movie podcast, so
yeah. What are we talking about here? So
go ahead.
I love when we have dead air because it gives me time to think about all of the great parts of this movie that I know you're going to hate. So the viral talking points of this movie have to do with the high-end 80s stars, which you've already been ripping on people like Carrie Ewers and fucking Mandy Patinkin. How dare you rip on Mandy Patinkin? It's like a hate crime.
What else has he been in? I just don't. I'm not a Mandy Patinkin connoisseur, I guess.
He's obviously a very talented singer. You didn't
Obviously.
know? You didn't know? And he does theater. He was in Yentl, bro.
Here's some more of that dead air for you.
Yentl? You don't know Yentl?
Is that
No.
with Barbara Streisand?
It is. It is exactly with Barbara Streisand.
The only reason I know that is from Deadpool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he did a little bit of Broadway, a little bit of singing, but this is his most famous role, I would say. This is what he's done the best of. He's done some things on TV, some TV shows, things like I think it was called Homeland, like one of those random police paramilitary episodic kind of deals. But
I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I
you
enjoyed him in
can say
this.
he's a bad
I just
actor.
don't know what it is.
You can say he's a bad actor. If there's ever an actor who got to deliver a line with so many different versions of it in the same movie, it's Mandy Patinkin in The Princess Bride. Not once will he have his revenge the same way every time.
I think that this is funny in the movie perspective, that reciting that line, but I just don't see how it could be entertaining or funny in a book. I think that's where my disconnect is.
Yeah, no, I can't
this.
see this being a funny book. I think the movie is funny because of the actors and the way that they created it, right? The situations that it goes into. Not that I've read a bunch of stuff, but like I can't see the Mad Max scene with Billy Crystal translating as funny in a book. I can see it as semi-serious and more vengeful. You know, the underlying themes of this movie are kind of dark. They made a machine that sucks the life out of somebody, which had no visual effects of aging whatsoever. It just was, sucky.
So the other people on the cast, Carrie Elway, good-looking bastard back in the 80s, man. Like, holy shit, that was a handsome man right there. And my wife is like, yeah, he still is. I was like, no, he isn't. He's not that handsome. No. Robin Wright is far more beautiful than Carrie Elway at the moment. Even, I'm sure Mandy Patinkin is probably more handsome than Carrie Elway right now.
Mandy Patinkin is big, white beard Mandy Patinkin at this point. It's pretty great.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a big thing. Like, I recognize some of the people. While Sean, I think a lot of people know him. I liked him in The Cosby Show. I don't know if you ever remember him being in The Cosby Show, but he was one of Cliff's friends, and they were trying to get him a date, and he was wearing like a wig or something. That's the only reason I remember that guy. He's been in a lot of stuff, but like that's why I was like, oh my God, it's the guy from The Cosby Show.
I mean,
it's Jeffrey, I think, the guy with the wig.
Other than the Pixar voices, Clueless?
Yeah. Nope, never watched it.
As if.
It's like, okay. You're me. I watched Clueless. No, sorry.
Inconceivable. I don't think you know what that means. Again, like you can't get those lines in a book with the just funny air of this movie. And that's why I think it's so good, especially like now there's so much content out there for kids to digest. There's 17 different streaming services with 30 different kids shows on them, right? But when this came out, you had fucking PBS and videos. And this, I can see this being a staple of a kid's VHS collection.
See, I wouldn't think that kids would like this movie. I would think that adults would. They'd find the humor and the slapstick-ish and campiness of it very entertaining. I don't think kids would get it at all. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I feel like it's one of those duality movies that come from the 80s, right? Where kids will stay in it for the adventure and the fighting and the whatever, and the adults get the jokes that the kids don't get, so the adults don't hate it. It's their least hated VHS their kid owns, right? Like that balance. You of all people with two boys know that there are things you're like, if you put that on, I'm leaving the room.
Yeah. Guess you left the room when we were watching this.
You mean the boys? It just didn't hit them?
No. Like, I thought it was funny. My wife thought it was funny. My oldest, I think he stuck with us for a majority of the movie. My youngest was like, once he was done with his dinner. He's like, peace, I'm out of here. Like, I don't know what you guys are watching. I'm out. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's something where I don't necessarily hold that to why I will either say that I can do this all day or can't, but it's just kind of the circumstances to what it is. But it's funny that you say that because I think you're right. I think there is enough for kids to be entertained or at least curious about the movie. But there's a lot of parts that are just kind of like really weird that I would think that I don't know why kids would necessarily be into it. So for like example, you had mentioned the adventure and stuff like that, but the sword fighting I thought was both funny and also very well done and choreographed. I thought that was like pretty top notch compared to some of the Star Wars lightsaber scenes in the sequel trilogy.
In the sequel
Am I
trilogy.
alone?
I thought you were about to wait, the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy? You're talking about the
Sequel
JJ.
trilogy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they
yeah.
were terrible. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
accurate.
Okay. I was gonna say it was pretty impressive. Like the fact that they had long shots is even though they were kind of doing it half-assed and maybe they did it, they sped up the film or whatever. It was still entertaining and impressive that they memorized the choreography for that many hits in a row. So
Mandy Patinkin
that was
was doing
impressive to me.
flippies. He's
Yeah.
doing flippies.
And Carrie Elway, he was doing his thing too. So I was down with that. I was finding that the most impressive out of pretty much everything in the movie. The fact that they did that level of choreography and they still made it seem impressive, but also like slapstick at the same time. It takes talent to make something that is so serious, such as dueling of swords, campy and well choreographed.
Speaking of campy and well choreographed, the sword fight, the first battle for the Dread Pirate Roberts, the second battle was amazing. That they just took a wrestling move and made it a thing. How do you get Andre the Giant to act? Just, hey, you know what a sleeper hold is. We'll do that. He's going to hang on your back and you're going to fake a sleeper hold. And then he's going to roll you over and pin you. It is just like, that's great. That's wonderful.
I think, when you have Andre the Giant in the movie, it's so ridiculous how much larger he was than all of those people. Like his head was like the size of everyone's torso. Like he was that giant of a man. It was so ridiculous.
And that's, now you try and dub that, right? In most cases, or they do that with CGI and get somebody that articulates better, but you leave Andre in because he's Andre, he's known, and you're not gonna get that girth and mass any other way. That's the beautiful part of 80s movies. Why did Arnold have a career? Not because he was super well articulate and everybody understood him right away. It's because he was very big.
He was the best. What are you talking? Not articulate. Get the fuck out of here.
No.
He was the most articulate in all of the 80s movies. You understood everything that he fucking said. Everything.
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about. Jesus. John Kimball.
What does your daddy and what does he do?
Christ, man, Christ. But of course, he'd make it into this episode. Of course he would, because he's Arnold. But yeah, I don't know. And then when you got some of the other scenes where you have Billy Crystal in there, that just kind of brought me back to these memories of like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this little tiny bit in the trailer of it or the little previews of it when it was syndicated on TV. And so that's where I was going back and forth. And I was just like, I was stuck in this constant loop of like, is the book this entertaining or is it just like is this completely 180 from the book? Once again, listeners, I'm not going to Google this right now. So you're going to have to listen to us pretty much complain about, or me complain about that and be curious about that throughout the rest of this episode. What are some other things that you kind of noticed from this viewing or anything you want to talk about in terms of the movie?
Well, I think that we've talked about the quotability, the humor, the kind of nostalgic feel that an 80s movie gives you. I mean, this was filmed on location in most cases, right? Somebody really went down the hill. Like, there's no CGI in this. And that is, I don't know if that's good or bad for the viewing experience, but it is what it is. I think that the thing that strikes me the most about this is the fervent fan fight to ensure there's no remake or reboot of this. Like, there is a ton of no on this from fans that they don't want a remake of this.
Really? I would think they could do it so much better now. So much better. Yeah, sure, it might not be as loved, but at the same time, it's the movie itself would be better. I don't know. Well, we'll
I
talk
mean,
about that a little later, I guess. We'll talk about that.
I mean, if you did it now, who would play the parts? Who would be Andre the Giant now?
Big Show.
Not as
And
cool
he would be a
about
better actor. And he'd be a better actor.
Oh, disagree.
The Big Show is freaking talented. Holy shit. His cameo on Saturday Night Live when The Rock was there. And he did I want to say he did a couple of movies, and it wasn't that bad. He's an entertaining guy. He knows how to entertain. I won't say that he knows how to act his ass off like, I don't know, like Meryl Streep, but at the same time, he doesn't have to. He can be that lovable, goofy guy. Maybe not as lovable and goofy as Andre, but sufficient, I would say.
I don't know. I feel like if they remade this movie, you'd get it would not be as fun of a cast. I feel like you'd get some thrown in, cut out random stars in it, random people. This Glenn Powell would find his way into this somehow.
That would be fine. Glenn Powell can do no wrong. I'm perfectly fine with that. Paul Rudd would be another one that I'd be okay with him being in there. Jack Black could be Westley for all I care, just because of his, or he could be Inigo Montoya. That would be kind of entertaining. I don't know. Antonio Banderas could be Montoya. There's a bunch of people that could be. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying that it could be done. And because I don't hold the original movie to this unrealistic spectacle of a high regard, then I'm okay with a remake. But I understand and respect the people that are fans of the original movie that we don't want a sequel, or we don't want a prequel, or we don't want a remake or anything.
Can't just let it be, can you?
I never said to make it. I said it could be done and it would be better.
I don't know about better.
I don't see, there's other movies that, Back to the Future is one of them. I don't think that they could remake that and have it be better. They could remake Princess Bride and have it be better 100%.
I mean, you understand that this is considered one of the near perfect films that exists, like Back to the Future. This is a movie that's considered to be in that category.
Is it?
It's yes.
I have never heard of people saying Princess Bride is the best. I've heard people talk about the book. I have not heard people talk about the movie in the same realm or even the same planet as Back to the Future. So I don't know.
It's on the list.
That's just me.
Of perfect movies.
Okay.
Along with The Godfather, along with Shawshank, along with Jaws. It's on the list.
Okay. Right. Who am I to say that list is wrong?
I mean, IMDb made the list.
Yeah, well, I do respect their lists. Speaking of, so this movie, in terms of I guess we should go to the rankings of it just to see. We have 96 critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 94% audience score. IMDb, you've got 8 out of 10. And Google, 4.8, 4.9 out of 5. Interesting. Ding. So yeah, I guess that makes sense then. The scores are up there.
I mean, it's tale as old as time. Tale as old as time.
Speaking of old, so Peter Falk from Columbo fame is the grandpa. I liked him and Fred Savage's interaction and banter back and forth with each other. Because say what you will about Fred Savage, but a lot of people think he's a piece of shit. And I guess the way that he acts or whatever, a lot of people don't like him. Same thing with his brother, Ben, from Boy Meets World. But if there is someone who nailed childhood acting, definitely Fred Savage. 100% sure. We watched him grow up on the Wonder Years. And this movie kind of caught me by surprise because I was like, wait a second, are we watching the right movie or are we watching The Wizard? Because I felt like there was a same scene of him in bed with, and a person reading him a book or something. I don't know, but I never saw that movie either. So
that's a retro rewind for another day. Yeah. So I want to agree with both of your points there, right? Fred Savage, great as a childhood actor. And our expectations of childhood actors as adults is that they're going to be poorly adjusted and kind of weird. So that's fine. He can be that. And he can also, pay the consequences of that action. But yeah, Fred Savage as a child, The Wonder Years, The Wizard, and his cameo here. But I'll say I dug his room more than him because he had all the vintage Bears stuff. I mean, solid room as a kid. solid
Yeah,
kid bedroom.
for sure. And with Peter Falk is reading him the story, did you not find it odd that he read the entire book? Like, how long was he there at this sick kid's house in his room reading him a book? Like, was he there 14 hours? Because that's how long it would take to read that book if you read it at pretty moderate pace.
Well, you're assuming that it's like a small type font. It could be an old people or a kid's book with really big type font and a lot of pictures. It could have
Either
not
way,
taken that long.
that was like a 500-page book, so
I
it
mean, he
looked
said
like there was some depth.
he used to read it all the time as a dad. So it couldn't have been that bad as Fred Savage invited him back to do it again.
Yeah, that was sweet, right? That was nice that like you think the kid's just not going to be interested with it, and you have that as a nice little theme throughout. Like then he gets interested. It's like, no, you can keep reading, and then he questions it, which is cool because yeah, you should question some of the things. But it's I thought that that was like a nice little nod to, or at least a lot of movies are probably taken from that, because we've heard that in plenty of other movies where someone's reading a book or telling a story and then someone questions it. Hell, even Road Trip did that when Tom Green is talking about the story of the journey of all of his friends going to pick up the sex tape, and then like the parents and the kids are like, really, like that actually happened? Like, oh yeah, yeah, it did. So I love the fact that they pulled that from The Princess Bride, potentially.
Potentially.
What else did you think about when it comes to the other stuff of the, like the intangibles of the movie, like the music and everything?
The music of this movie is such a cool conversation because you know who wrote it, right? Do you know who the composer is for this movie? Mark Knopfler or Knopfler. I always mess up his name. Guitar
It's a familiar
virtuoso.
sounding name.
Yeah, guitar virtuoso and lead singer of Dire Straits.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why the background of this is all like these really chill guitar riffs and a lot of strings. It's just such an 80s sound and feel. And I thought that that was super cool that they got him to do that. He's done other stuff like he was the composer for Wag the Dog. He was a composer on like 40 something movies. Well, some of them are Dire Straits videos now that I look at it, but I'm looking at the IMDb page, and yeah, not that many movies, a lot of music videos.
Perfect.
I'm just saying he's got
Perfect.
41.
Do you know who
composer-
this is?
No, but I mean Dire Straits is a huge band, and the
No,
dude
I
is
know that.
like a very recognized, outstanding guitar player. But I thought that that was really cool. I dug the music, and I thought that the treat of the original song, actual song at the end was pretty awesome too in the credits. Like it's very rare that you get a song that you're stoked about hearing new in the credits of a movie.
So what song was that? Because I don't remember that at all.
I don't know the name of it. Put me on
Okay.
the spot like that.
Worthy to talk about it. Okay. All right. So why don't we go ahead and get to the things that Martha'd you, or are there any?
You know, there's not a lot that bothered me about this movie. I'm sad we didn't see more of the six fingers, or there wasn't like a practical six finger situation on the six fingered man. But in general, I think the movie's pretty damn good. Nothing really killed me about it. Maybe I was sad that Wallace Shawn got killed so early because he's is probably the best villain in the movie. Humperdinck is Humperdinck, but Wallace Shaw was just so unlikable right away. How dare you talk to
Why?
Andre the Giant that way?
But so that's the only reason why it was okay to kill him off, right? Because he treated the others poorly. Because I feel like when I was first watching it, I was like, holy shit, he axed that guy. He's done. Like, why is he dead and the other two get to live? And why are the other two now just friends with this guy? And I get it, there's a little bit of a stretch there, and they're just good people that just happen to do bad stuff, so I get it. I understand it. You don't need to come after me for that. But yeah, that was a surprising thing for me, because I was thinking like, oh yeah, like, is he going to kill all three of these people eventually? Like, no, they have to join forces. I swear I saw something like that in the previews before. But the thing that Martha'd me was the pronunciation of Mandy Patinkin's character's name. And I'm not going to say that it was Andre the Giant's fault, but there were so many times that they called him Inigo that I was just like, why doesn't he correct them? Why doesn't he just tell them what his name and how it's pronounced? Like, I don't get it. Like, there's a little bit of that inconsistency. So it just drove me nuts. It just drove me nuts anytime I heard Inigo, just exactly how he pronounced it. But everyone else was like calling him Inigo. Like, what the fuck? Are you deaf, or are you just being flat out rude that you don't want to pronounce this guy's name right? Hey, for a guy that had apparently a 40-second fart on the set, yeah, I guess not. So yeah, but that would be the only thing that marthed me. And I do mean that. Like, it really did. I was like, fucking say his name right, Andre. Come on, man. Come on. You're French. You're cultured. You can say his name, for God's sakes. And he didn't. But R.I.P. Andre the Giant. Well, no, that's the thing. I don't like it when people mispronounce names. I don't. Unless it's you. I find it highly entertaining when you do it. But you know, if you're in a movie, like, the director wasn't like, I'm wondering, like, cut, Andre, just so you know, it's pronounced Inigo. And he's like, Inigo. It's like, what the fuck? Don't tell me. That's Andre the Giant. So, but either way, it's still marthed me. All right. So, well, it looks like we're there at that particular point of the episode where we ask a particular question. Mark, when it comes to The Princess Bride, the spectacular, highly well-regarded movie, can you do this all day?
My name is Inigo Montoya. Inigo Montoya. Inigo? My name is Inigo Montoya.
Mango?
Mango? No mango for you. No mango for you. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. I can do this all day. How can you not? This is so memeable. It's so quotable. Every time I yell Inconceivable, my wife gets more and more just questions why we got married. Like, it is a fun movie for me, and I think that the little dude is about ready for some Princess Bride. I was worried about the stabbiness, but nobody really dies except for the six-fingered man who deserves to die. So I'm gonna screw up my kid by letting him watch The Princess Bride. You already did. We know what your family thought of it as they walked out, but Dan, as far as you'd say, can you do this all day?
I'm gonna say a definitive no, but it's not because I didn't have a good time with it. It's just not my genre of movie, and it's a little bit confusing as to what the movie is really about and who it's for. Do I like a little bit of adventure? Sure. I'm fine with a little bit of romance. I love comedy and the effort of comedy that was put into this, but I just don't know if it cohesively works for me in particular. So I'm going to say no, but it's not like a real, don't you ever fucking go see this movie. Would I recommend people to see this movie? Sure, but it's just not something that I can do all day. I think it's good. Maybe if I saw it at the time of release, my opinion might be different. But because I've seen it so much later in my life, and there's so many other movies that have some type of similar preface as this, I just have to say, no, it's just not, doesn't hit that level just yet. But hey, if you like the book, maybe you'll like the movie. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know, because I'll never read the book. But anyone who does know a lot about the book, type it out in the comments. Just tell us what the entire movie's about.
The whole thing.
I won't Wikipedia it. Yeah, just I'll question it as you're writing it, and then that way you can explain it to me better. It'll be a nice little story. But that wraps it up for this episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Don't forget, y'all, like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments why Dan's wrong and we should send him to the Cliffs of Insanity. Have him go through the fire swamp and duel on the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland, where this was actually filmed.
We'll see you next time, everyone.